So tell me about the immigration system. How is separating families on the border helpful?
You know, we're not looking at this as separating families being helpful. What we're looking at is an increase in illegal immigration. In the last 3 months, we've had 50,000 people who are coming across the border and illegally, and we're trying to deal with this as best we can. One of the things that we see, Tiffany, is that we have a large increase in unaccompanied minors. Out of 12,000 children that have been coming across the border, 10,000 are unaccompanied. More than 50% of these are over the age of 16, which also presents a concern. So when you look at family separation really begins at home before they even come to the United States.
Now, is there a process in place to reunite the families?
There is a process to reunite the families if the parents are processed and found that one, they are able to stay in, number one, and number two, if they actually are parents of these children. Part of the problem that we have is finding out who is who and do they say that they are. We've seen that DHS has reported a 315% increase of adults coming across with children, because under the previous administration, if you came with a child through catch and release, you were automatically released into the interior of the United States. So we've also seen a rise in a concern for human trafficking. We're trying to really find that what is the best solution for children who are coming with adults, children, some who are young, and we can't verify that they are actually related to these adults. But like I said, 315% increase in adults bringing children across the border so that the adults can have easy access. That's not good for a child.
Now, with prioritizing taking of the backlog, when we talk about Border Patrol and federal judges, I know that they're ready with their hands full. What about them?
So one of the things that we are looking for, and we hope Congress will be able to address, is the issue of providing broader funds for border security. When the president addressed this issue early in the year, he talked about national security and border security and all that encompassed, including the need for more judges to be able to process folks who come here, including the possible need for increased detention centers for those who come across the border illegally. One of the things that we're trying to do is remind those that if those who come here and are requesting asylum, you can request asylum through a port of entry and not be separated from your children, because that's the legal way of doing it. But what we see is that so many people are using asylum as a way to get into the country and then to be released in the interior of the country, and that's an illegal process. And so what we are saying today is, please, for those of you who are watching and have family or access to those through your churches or through different communities, please tell those that don't emigrate illegally. We want immigration, but we want it to be legal immigration. If you come here illegally, you will lose your opportunity to be able to come into the country and be able to be fully processed and to be able to live here. Once you're caught and you're deported, you can't get back in.
So you've seen the audio tapes and you've seen these pictures from the detention centers. What are your thoughts on those?
You know, there's no question about it. I couldn't agree with President Trump even more. He said last Friday that he hates the separation of families. That's why we implore families to not do this. Don't bring your children on. Number one, first of all, it begins with giving a fortune to a coyote to go through a very dangerous trek across many Central American nations through Mexico. It's clearly unsafe. And then they come to the border, they're caught, and then at that point in time, you begin this process that in many cases may result in the separation from families. And so what the president has said is that he hates that process. Don't come here illegally. There are many who come here legally. We encourage that. If you are requesting asylum, do that through a port of entry. That is the right way to do it, and that way is also safer for children.
And last question, how long do you think this will last?
Well, that's actually a matter for Congress to deal with. The president is meeting with members of the House leadership this afternoon, and he looks forward to working with Congress. You know, President Trump tried doing this earlier in the year before this crisis came to a head, and he set up the 4 pillars, which also included a path to citizenship for DACA beneficiaries. So he tried to deal with this problem. This is a problem that he inherited. It's not new to this administration, but it is upon this administration, and the president is a doer and he's a problem solver, so he looks forward to working with Congress to solve this problem. It's not a Republican issue, it's not a Democratic issue, it's an American issue which requires an American solution.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.